So I know I've talked about doing this review video for a while. I've kind of fallen behind, but I got a little time today and I want to go ahead and get it knocked out. I want to go from the front to the back. I want to cover everything on this build. I want whoever wins it to know exactly what they're getting. I don't want someone to think they're getting something that they're not. And with that being said, something that I have forgot to post about was the fact this bike does not actually have a title. Alabama does not require us to have titles on them. We cannot register them to drive them down the highway legally, so they do not require titles. You will get a bill of sale and you'll get some legal paperwork that our lawyer will have done up, but as far as actual title, you will not receive one. The thought process behind this build was just a straight bounty hole bike, so if you're going to use it for that, you wouldn't really need a title. And honestly, it's not something that I would want to register and drive to Walmart if you live in a state that you can register them. It's just not, once the gear reduction goes in, it's just not going to be a highway machine. But anyways, let's jump over here, start taking a look at what we got, and let's go from the front to the back. So we'll start at the front. We'll start our way at the top, work our way to the bottom. So that radiator kit's going to get trashed. It was one that was done for a show like 7-8 months ago. It got ran over once we got it back. A lot of stuff didn't get cut out on it. We had some tip problems with our plasma cutter. Our tip blowed out and we didn't catch it in time. Long story short, that radiator kit's getting trashed. It's hard to see, but it's bent and some stuff didn't get cut out good on it, so we're just going to trash it. We're going to cut a new one with the custom faceplate for the giveaway. We'll get some new sides cut and get them bent up, and we'll get that replaced. Headlights came out good. Super happy with those. I really love how the bumper came out. I wanted to do the bumper silver. My wife recommended blue. There was a lot of silver kind of already up front, so I really like how the blue came out. Still got to wire up the headlight. We have the winch and everything wired up, but I haven't tried it yet, so we need to try that. Make sure everything's going to work. We're still missing a couple bolts here and there. We were trying to make a couple shows. Like this bolt up here is missing. We've got to get a nut for that one. I just got to look around and figure out where we put everything when we tore this thing apart. Lift kit's probably the most disappointing thing on the whole build. I love the way the lift kit came out. Super happy with it. Everything functions real good. It did real good when we rode it around at the park at the bounty hole. But the machine shop machined the bottom ball joint pads a little too big. And if you look real close, you can see we cut a spacer, 3/16 spacer, and put a washer on it. And that took up the play. So the taper in the ball joint would go through the ball joint and be showing at the bottom. So we'd run out of threads and you'd have taper showing. And there was just no way to tighten it up. The only thing we could do was do that. We tried to, I didn't catch it at first. I don't know how I didn't catch it. When we first put it together, we backed it out of the shop. Once we started going in reverse, it was really, really noticeable. So we've talked to the local fab shop. They're going to mill us a new set of pads. We're going to rebuild the whole lift kit, and we're just going to chunk this one in the trash. If you try to get someone to build you a lift kit 4, 5, or 6, I think there's a company out there building some 5-inch. I think the guy Tanner on Instagram, I think he's offering, I know he's offering some lift kits with portals. I want to say I'd seen him post about building a 6-inch kit, or maybe some, I ain't real sure. But factory brakes will work. We're thinking about 3D printing some little clamps and having a little clamp that'll go here, and all that, the factory stuff will just plug right back into it. We're still looking into that. I don't know exactly how that's going to go. So axles we're running Turner axles, +6. Really happy with the axles. We had a little bit of a binding issue when we first had them, or we first installed them. We contacted them and they told us since they were so new, we just needed to run them for a minute, let everything break in. So what I did was I put some shorter shocks on there. I put some 420 shocks, which is about 1.5 inches shorter than the 500 shocks. And I rode it around for 2 or 3 days, and just like he said, the more we rode it, the looser they got. The lift kit's a 6-inch lift kit with 1.5 inch forward rake. Once everything got freed up, we put the 500 shocks back on there, and just like he said, everything seems to be loosened up. So I'm kind of happy with the way all that came out. Move over here to the plastic. So, oh yeah, we're fixing to get rained on. So the plastic, we contacted about having a custom vinyl wrap put on it, but they wanted $1,200 for the top, and we was gonna have to paint the bottom anyways. And it just did not seem feasible to pay $1,200 just for them to wrap the top side. Not in my mind anyways. I tried to vinyl wrap myself. It worked out really great for like the first 2 days. Then it started getting some little bubbles in it. 99.99% sure it's my fault. I didn't do the right cleaner. I didn't do something right. I didn't stretch it enough. I ain't sure what happened, but we ended up ripping all that off and we painted it. So they make a plastic primer. It's an adhesive promotion primer for plastic. 3 coats of that, 2 to 3 coats of a body filler primer. You wet sand it smooth. 3 coats of silver and 3 coats of clear. Came out really great. This fender is getting replaced. The snorkel hole was an old fender that come with the bike, and the snorkel hole was cut in the wrong spot. I cannot make that hole work, so I've got a new fender for this. We're gonna get it painted and get it replaced. The wheels we're running is 18x3s. They're custom cut wheels. We built them here. We're running 33s, Outlaw 3s. Really love the tires actually. I haven't actually put them in any mud or anything, just riding around. Don't mind the puppy. My wife decided to bring home a stray dog. Stray dog decided to have 8 puppies. So we have a yard full of dogs at the moment. Where was that? Oh, tires. Love the tires so far. Haven't really put them in any mud or anything, but we rode around the park going up and down some hills. They really bite into the loose dirt. We built a custom cut set or a custom set of foot pegs for it. A lot of people asked at the bounty hole how they felt. I cannot tell any difference from stock as far as it hurting my foot or anything. It feels fine to me. To me, I love the way they look. We're probably going to do a small run of these and offer maybe 10 or 15 sets for the people that kept asking about ordering them. Now with that being said, I don't have a big enough gooseneck die to bend these perfect. If you look really close, one side's 90 degrees and the other side's about 86.5, or it was like 86 or maybe 85. I can't remember what it come out to be. Would not come out exactly 90. So we're going to cut them, take them to our local machine shop. They have a big CNC press brake with some huge gooseneck dies. They can get them perfect, and we're just going to let them do it. So we're going to see how much they'll charge, and then we'll be able to get a price on them and let everybody know exactly when we're going to offer those sets. We've got the switch panel all wired up. We've got 2 switches left. One's going to be for the bumper light, and we're going to try to get some sort of a sound bar on here. I don't know exactly how that's going yet, but we're going to try to get some sort of a sound bar on here. We do have 6 RGB rock lights all the way around it, 2 in the front fender, 2 in the back fender, and then 2 on the radiator kit. If you run our headlights, or if you run our radiator kit, they're all pre-cut to bolt up to RGB rock lights. And these are loose. We still got to take these headlights out. You need to install these before you put the headlights in. We figured that out. They're really hard to tighten up with little bolts up in there. On the back side of it, once again, we did not have a die that we could bend this perfect with, so we're probably going to go talk to the local machine shop about bending these up, but we cut some little brackets. We may offer a small run of these for the people that want to run rock lights but don't want to cut or drill into their plastic. We still got to pull these off. We're probably going to cut a new set, so we got to pull these off, powder coat them, and if they can bend this so it fits better up in here with the bolt, we'll probably have some sort of little offset bend or something there so it fits a little better. It's just a little crooked with the bolt up in there, but we'll see how that works out. A lot of people kept asking about the axle paddles. Everything on the axle paddles 1/4 inch plate but the paddle. We got 3/8 plate for the paddle. We did a little custom cut logo thing in there, drilled some holes, bolted that all up. We got 5-inch wheel spacers. It was the wheel spacers that we used to offer years ago. We haven't really offered them in a while. A lot of people's been asking about them. We may do a small run of axle paddles and a small run of wheel spacers just for the people that's been wanting them. And as you can see, we had a missing stud, so we're waiting on the stud to come in. Or we're gonna go try to find one at a junkyard. The stretch. A lot of people was asking about the stretch. I wanted to build this stretch completely different than what we built it. I wanted to build it all out of 3/16 plate. I was going to do it like a fabricated front end or rear end that people are building on these big mud trucks. I've been doing a bunch of research. We've got this Shop F350 and we were going to do an axle truss on it and convert it over to coilovers. So I was kind of really inspired by all of that. That's where the idea of this came from. It was kind of like an axle truss for the axle. It just didn't work out. We didn't have enough 3/16 plate. We were trying to make scraping the coast, and it just didn't work out. We just cut this off of the factory swing arm. We made a box for it. We took this tube, welded it to here, and then welded the box to the tube. We took TIG welded the drive shaft. I think we ended up with like 6 passes on there. We put a ton of passes on that drive shaft, so it should be fine. The front side, we're running 7/8 heim joints, and we cut some 3/16 plates for the spacers to make up the distance. We're running grade 8 bolts on there. I know the boot's busted. Everybody kept pointing that out at the show. We have one on order, but them things are like gold right now. If somebody can get their hands on one, comment and let me know. I will gladly PayPal you or come pick it up, whatever I need to do. One thing I forgot to mention up front is we did wire up the reverse lever, and I'll go over that in just a minute, but we deleted that whole side on the left hand side, all the cables up there, and I'll go over that in just a minute. So we're running 420 front shocks. I think they come off of 08 or 09 model front shocks. These shocks were some really old shocks that we had laying around back that come off a parts bike. The bushings in them are shot. So we're gonna pull these off, either get new bushings for them or try to find some shocks in way better shape. Both front and rear diff are rebuilt. All new bearings, all new seals. Should last a pretty good while, depending on how the person that wins it uses it. We did powder coat the heat shield for the exhaust all the way up to the motor. We're missing one clamp up front. We got to get one more like little hose clamp deal. It rattles just a little bit, so we got to get one clamp for that. So we're running our rear rack. We added the extra reverse lights to the rear rack. We've got one on this side, one on that side, and we got our rear brake light kit hooked up. So we got 3 reverse lights on this thing, and it is crazy bright. We got a rear rack on there. We've got it cut out for the giveaway. I know a lot of people asked about the seat. This was done down in Pensacola, Florida by, I think, Fast Lane. Finish Line Upholstery, I believe is the name of that. I'll post that guy's number and stuff on there because a lot of people want to know if they could get this seat cover done and just shipped to them. So I'll definitely post that guy's info. Let's see. So back to the front. We decided to completely delete everything off this side for the cables. When we did the rear drum delete, I said, you know what, I just want to do away with the whole deal on the left hand side. The idea behind this build was a bounty hole bike anyways, and I know a lot of people in the Honda struggle getting them things in reverse, getting that cable to go once they get a little mud in there. So we just completely deleted everything on that. We tied up the reverse lever, so if you're in neutral and you're in a hole, just click it down and you're good to go. I don't know if I mentioned it yet, but we still got to get this cover here. We've got it inside the shop. We got to get it painted. We're going to paint it once we paint the new front fender for it. This rack is a Rubicon rack off of like a 15 model. It's a little rougher shape than what I wanted to use. If you look, you can kind of see like somebody had tried to clean it or grind it on it or something at some point in time, and then it had a little nick right here. When we put it back in the oven, it kind of rocked its way up into the corner of the oven and knocked some of the powder off of it. But other than that, it's all right. And I honestly believe if I don't hurry up, I'm fixing to either get struck by lightning or we're going to get rained on. So that's pretty much it. Should cover everything on it. If you have any questions, just drop us a comment and I'll be gladly to answer them. The frame, I know I've mentioned this before, the frame is painted. It wouldn't fit into our oven, so we couldn't powder coat it. It is painted. We did our best. We went to the automotive store, had them scan some of the blue parts we've done, trying to match the color. I'm happy with the way it came out. There's not a ton of the frame that shows on these bikes with all the plastic, so I'm kind of happy with the way it came out. And that's about it. So I'm about to jump in the shop, turn the table off before everything gets fried in there, and I'll go inside, get this video edited, and we'll get it posted. So until next time.